Hey everybody, Invisiblekatana here, and today I would like to enact my free will once again and talk about pizza. I don't know why I connect free will with food. I don't know. I guess that says a lot. I don't know. But either way, decided I wanted to talk about pizza. Didn't have another topic. It's been on my mind. I was like, you know what? I want to talk about pizza. Also, it's kind of been on my mind. Of course, as you guys are hearing this, it's Monday, but I'm recording this Friday night. My initial plan was to get some pizza today because Hungry Howie's has like a 51% off deal on like any large pizza, including specialties if you're a Hungry Howie's person. So it was kind of on my mind, and that's why it was in my head. It was like, that was the plan. It's like 7:38 right now. I don't know if I'm still gonna do that because I have to drive home, just drop my girls off, spend an hour and a half in traffic because of an effing accident or something that was happening. Ridiculous, an hour and a half, insane. So I don't know if I'm even bothering eating. Like, I might just go home, shower, and go straight to sleep because I'm actually really tired from just sitting. It made me sleepy and being like just comfy in the car. But anyway, driving home, thought I'd think about pizza. Actually, if I talk about pizza as long as I'm about to, I'm probably gonna end up buying one. So it's pretty much guaranteed at this point. But anyway, let's talk about pizza. There's good pizza, there's bad pizza, there's expensive pizza. I will say overpriced pizza, I won't say expensive, overpriced pizza. And then there's cheap pizza, and then just, the in-between stuff. There's, chains, one-off spots, bar pizza, which I think tends to be pretty good, but we do have a chain out here. I'm in Michigan. Shout out to Green Lantern. I think we only have like 2 or 3 of those. Great pizza, also a fantastic name because I'm a comic book guy, so love that. But tons of different types of pizza. And we're gonna start with some Detroit classics. Of course, I'm gonna kick it off with Little Caesars. So, Little Caesars is interesting, to say the least. The home of the hot and ready. Much like the, Subway $5 foot long, a time long since passed, because the hot and readies used to be a beautiful, crisp $5 bill. Technically, it was $5.30 because of tax. But, you walk in, $5.30, boom, you're good to go. Hot and ready. Now it's like $7 or something like that for hot and ready. And the pizza is not good enough for that. Personal opinion, is not that good. I will say the only thing that you can get even close to $5 at this point, outside of, actual pizza-based stuff, if you're going like bread and stuff like that, of course, it's like $3 or $4. But you can get the, I forgot exactly what they call it. I always called it the pepperoni cheese bread because it's basically the pizza, but there's no sauce. And then they put like a bunch of Parmesan and like garlic on the top. So it's honestly, I think it tastes better than the actual pizza. So I think it's really just the extra Parmesan, and plus, like I said, it literally is like garlic butter, I would assume is what they put on it. But that stuff tastes amazing. And you can get that, I think it's like $6 now, but it used to be like you could get it for $5 and then you'd get like 10 pieces, and that was actually enough to fill me up. Heck, even just 5 would be good enough. So I would sometimes get that with my youngest, and she, at that point she was probably like 4. On the rare occasion I would get her some pizza. We could split it, and then she'd be good. Like she's not gonna even eat 5 of those little pieces, but I certainly could, and they were absolutely delicious. So shout out to that. The pepperoni cheese bread, as I like to call it. They used to have a thing, and I don't know if they even do it anymore, but it was always somewhat confusing even back in the day because there used to be 2 sizes of that. And I think they kind of cut that out, so you can only get like the 10 piece. But they used to have like a really big one, because I remember there were a couple of times where it was like, hey, I want to order this, and get like an order, and then I would go to pick it up, and it would be like the tiny one. I'm like, no, I wanted like the big order. So it was like a weird thing, but I don't know if they even do that at all anymore, and it might just be the 10 piece. Either way, delicious. If you never tried it, it's definitely good. Better than the pizza even, like I said. But there is something worth mentioning when it comes to Little Caesars. Not that the pizza is horrible or anything like that. It's just okay. Heck, it was the $5 pizza, for a hot minute. But there was a moment in time where they're like, you know what? We've had the $5 hot and ready. It's all right. It can be good. It does depend on the place. Sometimes you can hit a Little Caesars up and you could get yourself a pretty decent hot and ready, and it'll actually taste good. Like I had one recently, and it was like, okay, maybe it had just been a minute. I don't know. Like, it's not, like I said, it's not like their pizza is bad, but the whole thing was like, this is actually really good. So it can also be that classic situation. It's like you go to any fast food place where it's like, this Burger King over here, they do whatever they do, something is a little bit better than the one that's over there. It's just how it is. So the last Little Caesars pizza I had was pretty good, but something that I probably will never ever have again, because I'm just not going to pay for it, because it's not really that worth it. Once I'm getting to that price, I might as well just go for something else. It's the extra most bestest So back when the hot and ready was $5, they were like, hey, we're gonna pop out a new pizza, the extra most bestest pizza. It's $6. It's not like $8 or something like that. And it was, if I'm not mistaken, it's 25% more cheese and like 50% more pepperoni. And I remember the first time I had that, and I was like, it's a world of difference. The extra cheese, the extra, clog your arteries grease, it makes a real difference in flavor, and it was absolutely amazing. I love that stuff. It was really good. Probably won't have one ever again unless somebody else buys it, but that's actually pretty good too. So if you never had like anything outside of just a hot and ready at Little Caesars, if I recommend anything, I'm gonna tell you, get the pepperoni cheese bread. That's 100% like the best thing that they have. It doesn't matter if it's like the meat lovers, they call it the meat trio, the 5 meat, any of that stuff. That pepperoni cheese bread is definitely the best thing that I think Little Caesars has ever had and probably ever will have. Granted, that's based on a guy who has had maybe 4 things ever from Little Caesars: a hot and ready, the extra most bestest, the cheese bread, and then the crazy bread. And I think I've had their like meat lovers pizza as well, but that's not much of a difference when it comes to their pizza. So I've had like 5 separate things. I don't think I've ever had anything outside of those 5 things from Little Caesars before. I've definitely, not that I can recall at least, I've never had their wings. I've never gotten their dessert. Like, granted, most of this stuff will require me spending the money, and it's like, if I'm going somewhere for pizza, it's like going to Dairy Queen. I've never had their burgers. I've always wanted to try it, but I'm like, I'm going to Dairy Queen, I'm getting ice cream, Like, it's that type of situation. Like, I went to Little Caesars because I wanted the pizza. Like, I want the pizza that the guy has on the little stick. Like, that's what I'm looking for, all right? So I've never really had anything outside of that, and like I said, the regular crazy bread, which is good, that's good too. But Little Caesars, a Detroit classic, and it's just money and inflation and all the economic stuff. Sadly, no more, and it's never going to happen. Right? It would require an absolute miracle and just a fundamental change in reality for us to have prices lowered, and we go back to the $5 hot and ready. Unfortunate, but it is what it is. But moving on to another Detroit staple, or at least a Michigan staple, I should say, Domino's. It didn't really start in Detroit, but it's somewhere. I think it was in the Metro Detroit area, or like one of the other little cities we got on the edge. Domino's. So back in the day, Domino's had this thing where people like hated it, and it was, they even made commercials about it, like, hey, we know our pizza kind of sucks, we're flipping the script. I never had Domino's as a kid. Like, not that I can really ever think about. When it comes to being younger, it was like Hungry Howie's or Little Caesars were the 2 things when it comes to school. It was like, hey, here's the cheap pizza. It was either Hungry Howie's, typically Little Caesars, especially, when the hot and ready hit. It was like, oh, we're never buying anything else again. $5 pizzas, it's always going to be the hot and ready. So as a kid, I barely ever had Domino's anyway. So for me, I kind of missed that whole era of like, bad Domino's pizza before they did the big switch to the good pizza, because I do think Domino's is pretty good. And I was never really a Domino's person, growing up, and I'll talk about this later, but Pizza Hut was always like my number 1 go-to. That was always my favorite as a kid. But at some point, I ended up getting into Domino's. It was actually because of one of my exes, and she revealed to me that they do garlic parmesan sauce. That stuff is delicious. And of course, any place I get pizza from, I can get a meat lovers, and that's good enough for me. But that with the garlic parmesan sauce was like, oh, yeah, that's a game changer. That stuff is absolutely phenomenal. I recommend that to anyone on planet Earth. But also, something I found out because of, just starting to eat there, the pasta bread bowls from Domino's are so good. I had no idea. Once again, I never even really ate there, so I didn't know any of the stuff they had on their menu. I go to a place for pizza, I'm just getting the pizza. That was like I think Domino's is the only place where I order anything that's not just some form of a pizza. It's Domino's, and it's because sometimes I'll just want like a pasta bread bowl, and they're like $9. I think it's like $9.10 or something weird like that. It might just come out straight to $9, but it's $9. You can get like you can get one where it's just the ingredients in like a regular like aluminum bowl, or you can actually get the bread bowl. So I always go for the actual bread bowl. I get the Alfredo sauce, pepperoni, bacon, jalapenos. It actually comes out pretty amazing. So, excuse me. I love that 100%. The only thing that sucks about it is it's right under the cusp where they're like, oh man, you're like $1.12 away from getting points on this order. It's like, you guys suck. So, I save $1, but at the same time, considering how many times I've gotten it without the points, I'd spend the extra $1 to be able to get the points if I could. If they made it like $10 and that allowed me to get extra points, I probably would have got like 3 extra free pizzas off of that stuff at this point. So sadly, that extra $1 off has kept me from getting points, but that's just over time, because I think those points pretty much last forever. It's not like in a month I'm like racking it up, because that's very dangerous. Do not do that. But the pasta bread bowl from Domino's is absolutely phenomenal, as well as the garlic parmesan. It's really, really good. I tried their stuffed crust recently, because also another random deal that I think is still going on. They're doing like their $9.99 deal, where it's like any pizza, any toppings, $10, except for stuffed crust is like an extra $4 for that. And that was really cool. So in case that's going on, check it out if you're a Domino's person. $9.99 deal, which they took away, I swear, for like 2.5 minutes. Like, because they were doing that, I got a pizza and I was like, okay, cool. And they had like, it's gonna end on this date and stuff. And I was like, I want to make sure I get like a cheap $10 pizza. It's a large meat lovers pizza for $10. I even got the jalapenos on it, which places charge like $1.69 just to add jalapenos. It's insane. It might be more than that now, but I was looking at Hungry Howie's recently for that, because I was like, oh, like it's less than $10. Let me see how much it costs for jalapenos. The jalapenos themselves were like maybe they were over $2. It was either almost $2 or over $2 just to add jalapenos. And I was like, no. But for that Domino's thing, any size, any topping, so I was actually able to get my jalapenos on it. Fantastic. Absolutely delicious. And excuse me, the stuffed crust I thought was okay. I was all right with that. Like, I tried it because I like to get stuffed crust. I used to love stuffed crust from Pizza Hut, and please let me know if I'm crazy, but Pizza Hut stuffed crust used to be regular pizza and cheesy stuffed crust. Now if you get it, it's like Sicilian style pizza, like authentic Italian pizza, where it's thin slices and then it's just like a thick crust. And I'm like, this sucks. Like, it used to just be regular, I guess it would be like their pan pizza, whatever the style is. It used to just be their regular pizza, and then you would also have a stuffed crust. But now it's like, if you get stuffed crust from Pizza Hut, it's a thin sliced pizza, and that sucks. I hate that so much, because I'm like, I really love Pizza Hut pizza, but it's just, I can't get the stuffed crust anymore because it's not their regular style. So very unfortunate, but not the same when it comes to Domino's. I think theirs was still a decent size plus the stuffed crust, but it was also okay. I was just like, I don't need it. I'm good. Like, I always like cheesy stuffed crust. I remember when that first came out, it was like the craziest thing in the world. It was back back in the day, where it was like, hey, you can get like a triple burger Whopper, or stuff like that, like a triple cheeseburger, like just crazy times. They were just doing stuff. But I like some stuffed crust pizza, but sadly, Pizza Hut wise, they make it thin crust now, or thin slice now, and Domino's is fine, but I was like, it's not worth it, for that extra little bit. I was like, I'll just stick with my regular, if the deal is there, I'll stick with just a $10 large garlic parmesan, and I'm good to go. So Domino's, definitely great. Since we're talking about Pizza Hut, Pizza Hut was always my favorite growing up. That was like the number one spot. You get your personal pan pizza, you get your free little thing, you go in there, you play the little racing game. There's one near me that still looks like a classic Pizza Hut. And that's nice to see. It's not one of the newer styles where everything looks the same. It's like, it's the classic, it's the Hut shape, or however you want to describe that shape, because I don't know if I'd call it a Hut shape, but I guess that's what it has to be. It is a Pizza Hut pizza. It is a classic. They still have the old cars, and there's no way they make money off of those, but they got the old sit down racing car in there. They still have the thing where you put the quarters in, you put like 75 cents in, and you push it in, you pull out like a sticker. Ridiculous. They got like the oldest technology. It's so weird, but it's really nice when I go in there, because it's just like, it's that little bit of nostalgia where you're just like, it's cool. It's like, it just looks like an old pizza. I don't know how often people are just sitting in there to actually eat, but small little spot. Like I said, they got their couple of arcade games. They got the little machine. And it's like, that's cool. And it's one of those spots where it's like seeing the Arby's that still has the giant hat on the sign, where it's just that big one on the outside. There's like one of those that I know of still in Michigan. Hopefully there's more than one, but there were two that I knew, and one of them doesn't have the giant hat anymore, and that's really sad. But the other one still has it, and I'm like, that's nice. You'd like to see the classic styling sometimes. So Pizza Hut was always my favorite growing up, and then I think just over time, it was just like, I mean, Pizza Hut, I think, was also like the most expensive when I was a kid. So it was kind of like the specialty thing, unless you got like that personal pan pizza where you got like the free ticket or whatever. Outside of that, it was like, you get Pizza Hut when it's like a special occasion. Outside of that, once again, Little Caesars. Also, shout out to the frozen pizzas you get from Little Caesars. Haven't had one of those in 100 million years, but I used to love those as a kid, where you just get like the box of ingredients and then you make your own little personal pizzas. That made you feel kind of special. If you haven't experienced that, because I feel like that's not done nearly as much anymore. I know they still do it, but I just, granted, at the school my kids go to, I guess they don't do it, because we haven't really had that happen. They do like the regular, like candy sales and stuff. But even then, I don't think they do that at that school. They just do like little stuff here and there, but it's not the same, where it's like, hey, check mark for the Little Caesar stuff. Or no. You know what? I think they do, actually. It's just all in email. It's not like the physical form. That's what it is. It's all email now. So it's not, I'm thinking of like the physical papers I'm remembering. It's all email. It's all digital. So wasn't thinking. They do still do that, but we just don't do it. But I miss those days. I miss the little frozen pizzas. Those are definitely pretty cool. And then obviously, like I said, Pizza Hut had the personal pan pizzas, which on Tuesdays, don't know why I got all the pizza deals in my brain, but I do have an account with like just about like 4 different pizza spots. But Pizza Hut, every Tuesday, their personal pan pizzas are like $2 or something crazy like that. Get yourself a personal pan pizza on Tuesdays, $2 Tuesdays, while supplies last. Other spots that I really liked, and this is the transition from like Pizza Hut to the age of when I started to buy pizza and stuff myself. Not Buddies. Sorry, I do need to shout out Buddies. Buddies is actually another Detroit thing. That is like the Detroit pizza, where it's like deep dish pizza. Detroit Buddies pizza. Fantastic pizza. Also, that's where you get into that overpriced realm, but not as overpriced as Jets. Jets is super overpriced. Have you seen the price? Look up the price for a Jets pizza and then change that pizza to the 8-corner pizza. It is insane how much they charge just so you can have 8 different corners on a deep dish pizza. It's ridiculous. That recently happened to me. It was funny, like the day after it happened, some of you know who this is. If you're watching this, you probably know him. But Angry Joe, game reviewer, for anyone who's unfamiliar, he had a tweet like the next day after that happened to me. He was like, is this what Jets Pizza costs? And it was like, you got that 8 corners. They charge a ridiculous amount just for the 8-corner pizza. Like, it's insane how much they charge for that. Other than that, it's still a bit overpriced. And that's why I say, like, Buddies, I would say, is overpriced, but it's like, that's like gourmet pizza. Like, eating Buddies is like eating gourmet pizza. So it's that overpriced, but not, it's like it's justified overpriced. And then Jets is like, oh, this is just overpriced. Like, it's something about it where it's just like, the first thing that comes to mind is like, the cheese is so generic, and this is Jets. The cheese just feels so generic. It's like, this could be anybody's deep dish. That's how it feels. That's the only way I can truly describe it, and I know that doesn't make sense, but that's what pops into my head. I see the cheese, and I'm like, that looks like every other cheese. I know that doesn't make sense, because all the cheese looks the same when it's melted on the pizza, but something about that is the thing that I gravitate towards, where I say, it just looks generic for the price they be charging. It's not worth all that. But if you got a good deal, go for broke. But Buddies is absolutely phenomenal. I love Buddies. I rarely eat it because there's only like a couple around in sporadic locations. Also the price. But Buddies is really good. The place I wanted to mention though, when I got into actually getting pizza myself, shout out to Happy's Pizza. Happy's Pizza had the greatest pizza deal on the face of this planet. I know that they don't have it anymore, and if they do, that's crazy. But it was like 2 large 3-topping pizzas for like $12.99. I got that stuff so much. You know what? Shout out to the Happy's in Detroit on 7 Mile, 532-7777. Yes, that is the actual number. Yes, I know the Happy's theme song. I'm not gonna sing it, but as much pizza as I bought from them, yes, I know the Happy's theme song. That's just how it goes. Happy wings, pizza ribs, jumbo shrimp taste great. Happy delivers, Happy's open late, okay? I'm not gonna do like the actual song. If you have not seen Happy's commercials, by the way, if you're not from the Detroit area, please look up a Happy's Pizza commercial on YouTube. Just do that. But Happy's Pizza. Ate so much food there, and that's when the house I grew up in, that's when I was like in college, I was working to have my own money. I would buy pizza all that time. It was delicious. Give myself like a wild cherry Pepsi, magnifique. I moved from that house. I left the house, ended up moving in with my dad in a different city. One day, because my uncle, it was me and my uncle who were in the house, And one day we went over there, we were doing whatever at the house, and he told me, he was like, yeah, Happy's like called the house because I ate so much pizza. So apparently they called the house. They like, they're like, man, where's I was like, oh, some of you will get this term, some of you won't. But in the gacha community, the gacha games, I was a whale. In terms of that, I was a whale. I was the big spender. I was like the guy buying pizza, and it was delivery. I wasn't driving out there to get that pizza. It had that junk sent straight to me. You come here, I'm gonna eat this pizza. I'll give you a tip, and I'm gonna eat this pizza. So I ate so much Buddy's pizza, or Happy's pizza, sorry, that they straight up called the house at one point. I wish I could have heard that actual conversation, because that's the craziest thing I've ever heard. Like, they missed me. They were like, man, their stock, like if they had stock options, their stock probably would have dropped like 15% because I stopped eating there because I moved away. But like I said, I remember the actual number, 5327777, right on 7 Mile. But yeah, shout out to Happy's Pizza. There's a Happy's Pizza near me, but I don't get Happy's anymore because and it was good pizza. It was decent, but also that was in that range of like, yeah, it's good, but it was like kind of generic. But it was like the pizza spot at the time, and like I said, not bad in any way, shape, or form. Definitely good. Like I said, it was an amazing deal. 2 large pizzas, 3 toppings a piece. I would always get pepperoni, ham, sausage, and then the other I would do pepperoni, bacon, sausage. So that was how I always did it. And then, like I said, I'd get a wild cherry Pepsi, or I would end up getting some Red Pop, sometimes Faygo Red Pop, for those of you not in Detroit. Once again, Faygo is a brand that we have here. Faygo Red Pop is like my number one Faygo. And it's definitely, it always rotates as far as like favorite pops. It's either Sprite, Faygo Red Pop, or wild cherry Pepsi. Those are the 3, and it kind of rotates in and out from time to time. Haven't had a Red Pop in a million years though, because once again, prices. Nothing will stop me from being unhealthy like being cheap, let me tell you. But I'll still get pizza. I might not get all the pop, but I will always get some pizza. And that leads to the final pizza place. And this is a special one, because this is the place for me right now. It is the number one spot that I go to for pizza. It's the number one spot that I recommend. Everyone knows, the generic chain. You got your Pizza Huts, Little Caesars, Domino's, all those spots. I'm sure there's some other spots. I'm not a big fan of like Cottage Inn. That's another one where I'm like excessively overpriced, and their pizza is not that good to cost that much money. Personal opinion, of course. Their pizza's good, but it's not, what feels like $1 million good. So I never order from them because I feel like it's excessively overpriced, and it's not as good as the other stuff I can get. I think CC's Pizza is the buffet place. I think I've been there like once in my life. I will never say anything bad about a buffet pizza place. And that's all I gotta say about that. But the place that I like to go to, my number one spot that I just, to the end of time, I will recommend this. And this is the tagline I go with. It's the closest you can get to a gourmet pizza from a chain restaurant. And I think technically, I would say it's better than even Buddy's Pizza. Might be blasphemous, I know I'm from Detroit, but hey, I can say what I want. And it's Marco's Pizza. If you have not had Marco's Pizza, that is the place to go. And also, because once again, I mentioned I have, accounts with like 4 different pizza places. I got Domino's. Right now I have Hungry Howie's because I had to make an account. But I got Hungry Howie's, I got Little Caesars, I got and I got Pizza Hut. Those are the 4. So Marco's, Hungry Howie's, Domino's, Little Caesars, and Pizza. So I got 5 of them now because the Hungry Howie's was the new one. The only place that sends out deals that are like, holy crap, magical, is Marco's. Every month they send out something, which I haven't seen it in a minute, but it's probably also because I haven't been buying the pizza as much lately. But they would be sending stuff out like at least once a month where it was like, hey, you want like 23% off a pizza? You want 30% off a pizza? And it's like every single month. I'm like, no other pizza place at all does this. Domino's has like their special deal where, them doing the $9.99 thing, that's an overall thing. But for Marco's, it was like, if you sign up, it's their signing up thing. And they would send that stuff out to people that signed up. And it's like, this is crazy. Nobody else does this. Pizza Hut barely sends out any effing thing. Like, I never get Pizza Hut, and I'm like, I signed up for them because I'm like, it's Pizza Hut. I would love to get more Pizza Hut. They don't have any effing deals. I feel like none of their deals are worth it, except for the one time they also did like a $9.99 deal, and I was like, I'm gonna get Pizza Hut because it's $9.99. But Marco's Pizza is effing delicious. I love their pizza. Their stuff is absolutely amazing. That is my number one pizza spot. I recommend it 100% of the time. So that is what I, like I said, that is just my thing personally. I say Marco's. Marco's is number one. I like all of their stuff. I think their ingredients taste the best. They, like I said, that gourmet style. You know, everyone has like the different ways that they make pizza. Like the thing I always think about with Hungry Howie's, never really eat there at all. But I always thought their pizza looked funny because they have like, it's weird because I feel like all of their stuff, they slice into like weird rectangles. Fascinating to look at, but I'm like, they got like weird rectangular strips of ham and bacon, and I'm just like, how did, like, what made them do that? I like, it's not that it makes it taste any worse or anything. It's just, it looks funny to me. Like, it's just so funny to see that where it's like, huh. It's like, it's just rectangle meats. That's fascinating. Everywhere else, it tends to be fairly generic. You know, some places will have the, I think, what do they call, like the old world pepperoni, where it's like really cupped and you just get like a tiny little bowl of grease. Not personally a fan of that, but you know, it's pepperoni, so it tastes good. But everybody has the way that their pizza looks. You know what I mean? Like everything looks the way that it looks. Little Caesars looks like the most generic pizza you could possibly stare at in your life. And that's just how it is. Pizzas look a certain way from different places. And when I see a Marco's pizza looks like it does in the effing pictures on the website. That's what Marco's pizza looks like. You get the pizza, except for the couple times, like there's been like a time or two where they kind of burnt my effing pizza where I was like, man, this crust is a little dark. You know, not to be racist, but that's some dark effing pizza. So outside of the couple times that's happened, very rare occasion, of course, the pizza looks amazing. You flip the box open and it's like the sausages, the pieces of sausage look like actual, like it's worth the money. It's not like a tiny little speck of meat. It's like, no, that's like an actual piece of sausage. Like, this is the type of stuff I would give myself if all of this was free. You get a good proportion of food. And also with, you know, 25% off or 20% off is a pretty decent deal, because admittedly that's also the only time I ever buy the pizza. It's the only time I ever buy pizza in general, is because, once again, the only thing better than being healthy is being poor. That'll always stop you, 100%. So it's been a minute since I have had a Marco's, and that's also because of the random weird $9.99 deals that Domino's is doing, and then, like I said, the Hungry Howie's thing just popping up out of nowhere with like a large pizza under $10 is like unheard of. So, you know, kind of legally obligated to do that one, which, once again, it's only $8.05. I might get myself an $8 pizza, because why not? I'm talking about pizza right now. But Marco's is where it's at. That is my personal opinion. Obviously, there are a billion pizza places. I would love to know your thoughts, but I'm telling you, if you have not had Marco's, not sponsored, but I could be, Marco's is the place to go. That is the place. Like I said, I always tell people, like, because at my job during COVID, we would do like Grubhub and stuff. So people, you know, sometimes would go in on orders together and then be like, all right, well, let's get like 2 pizzas or, you know, 3 pizzas and stuff, and kind of pull our money together. And so I would tell people, you know, when we were doing like pizza and stuff, I'm like, you guys ever had Marco's? Like, I probably recommended it like 3 or 4 different times, because, you know, people would just get pizza. So you try like different pizza spots. There's I think like New York Pizza Depot is a spot like out in Ann Arbor. I'm sure it's a chain, but that's the one that I'm familiar with, because that's the one that I think I'm closest to. It's the only one I'm familiar with because of the Grubhub thing. But their pizza, I just thought was like, you know, it's okay. But I would always tell people, I'm like, you guys should get Marco's. It's the closest you get to gourmet pizza from a chain restaurant. Every time I recommend it, someone would be like, yeah, that was good. Everybody would be like, yeah, that Marco's is pretty good. I'm like, yes, it is. Yes, it is. So once again, I'm not sponsored, but if someone from Marco's, I don't know, Beautiful Pizza Entertainment wants to get in contact with me, by all means, I will shill for Marco's Pizza, because I already eat all the effing pizza. So if you can spread the word to someone that knows about Marco's and can get me, you know, a good connect, feel free to do so. But that, I think, is a good spot to wrap it up, because of course you got to end with your favorite at least. But I would love to know your favorite pizza places. What places have changed for you guys? Because that's, of course, definitely a thing. I mean, let's be honest, food in general, you know, you could be like, you know, when I was a kid, it tastes like this, and now it tastes like that. Things that do exist, don't exist, proportions, all that good stuff. You know, I mean, heck, ask your parents about McDonald's and how that used to be. I mean, heck, you can ask me. I mean, there used to be a $1 menu. You know, it's just, things have changed for sure. Sometimes it just changes proportions. Sometimes it changes in taste. Once again, Domino's literally had that as one of their commercials. So if you guys remember how bad their pizza used to be, please let me know. Because like I said, I never really had it anyway as a kid. So it wasn't until after the whole switch. I remember those commercials a little bit. Shout out to the Noid, by the way. For anyone that doesn't know, that was the old Domino's mascot. For anyone that is unfamiliar, this is the random pizza fact. The reason the Noid does not really exist anymore, they still, random appearances here and there, seeing them come back a little bit. But for anyone who's unfamiliar with the Noid, the reason it went away was because of if I'm not mistaken, it was a weird situation where a dude was dressed as the Noid and then shot up a mall or something crazy like that. And it was okay, we're done with the Noid, he's gone, because it was just a random shooting or something crazy like that. I don't even remember if the person was actually dressed as the Noid or if it was something weird like that, or if it was just a dude that worked at Domino's. I can't remember 100%, but I think it was someone dressed as the Noid and they shot at a mall or something crazy like that. And then the Noid was gone. But he's made, some slight appearances here and there. So, he's not 100% gone, but just mostly gone. They don't really bother with it anymore. I mean, most places don't really bother with mascots anymore outside of Little Caesars, because that's the dude is the mascot is literally the logo of Little Caesars, pretty much. So outside of them, nobody really has anybody. But Marco's is where it's at. Like I said, that's my number one. You can still get some good joy out of Little Caesars. It's nice. It's cheap-ish. I do have to give a shout out. I almost forgot to do this. I thought about this a little bit earlier. I do have to give a shout out to the generic, just Walmart brand pizza. Who knows if it's radioactive, but I can tell you it's pretty good. And it's not the worst deal ever. You can get an extra large, and their things are they have two sizes. So it's they're medium, and then they have the crazy large one. It'll be $8, and then $12 for an insanely large pizza. So deal wise, once again, it's Walmart style, so you do get a pretty decent deal on it based on money versus size compared to if you got that from anybody else. And it's their ultimate, it's a meat lovers. They call it their ultimate meat pizza or whatever, but it's just a meat lovers. And price wise, flavor wise, pretty decent. And of course that's homemade, so to speak. I mean, you heat it up in the oven, but it makes it a little easier. I'll add my jalapenos to it and add all my stuff to it before I put it in the oven. And then, dude, I like my stuff super spicy, so I'm putting pepper flakes and peppers on it. And then when it's out of the oven, I'm doing a sriracha swirl. It's real crazy. If you don't like spicy, you don't like my pizza. Not that I have to have it spicy, but I prefer it spicy because it tastes better to me. But shout out to the Walmart brand pizza. It's actually pretty decent. I'll pick those up every once in a while if I'm in there and they're at a deal or a decent price. Once again, fluctuation in price, all that crap. But definitely a decent deal, and definitely some good flavor on that for sure. So, shout out to the Walmart pizza. I do have to give a nod to it because I do get those pizzas a decent amount of time. But Marco's is where it's at. Everybody else is still good. All the places I referenced, still good pizza. I would love to know your favorites. I would, like I said, love to know your least favorites and the places that have just changed. What places kind of fell out with you, and for what reason? For me, most of them are priced, although Pizza Hut was always the expensive one. But I would love to know what places have fallen out with you, whether it's a change in flavor, maybe you change and everyone else says it tastes the same, but to you, your taste buds have changed. I just want to know, what are your favorite pizza places, your least favorite pizza places, who has the best deals, if that's even something you bother thinking about. I have a very fat person inside of me that likes, once again, poor will always make you seek out the best deals in pizza. So, sign up for the stuff. I'm just saying, a lot of them will be hey, here's either coupons or points for certain orders above this thing. I've gotten at least 5 free pizzas from Domino's from getting other orders. So I'm just saying, if you're eating there anyway, sign up for it. Everybody's got an app, or everybody's got a login or something you can sign up for. Just go for it. If you get that much pizza, you might as well do it because it's going to be free. And most of the places, the points barely ever expire. It might take a super long time before they're hey, these are expiring. So just go for it. That's just my personal recommendation. Just go for it. Just sign up for something, get yourself a couple free things here and there, at least over time. But those are my thoughts on pizza. This was super long because I had a long drive. I didn't think I would actually talk all the way till I got back home, but it's pizza. It's worth talking about. So I hope you guys enjoyed this ridiculous video. I have no idea what the footage is going to be for this because I have nothing. All I have is the same footage over and over again. But we'll see. Maybe I'll find something special, something Ninja Turtles. I'm gonna have to play that over the weekend because I have no Ninja Turtle footage. I'm gonna have to play some Ninja Turtles now. But hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys have any comments, of course, please put them down in the comment section below. And as always, thanks for watching.